another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. My name is Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. And welcome, welcome to another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Today we're talking about a topic related to the Keeping Families Together Parole in Place program. And the question that I want to explain and talk through with you is, what is a presumption of ineligibility? Who triggers that presumption and what to do about it? Because sometimes that comes up, and we'll talk a little bit about some news, and we'll talk about this Parole in Place program as well. But in the meantime, hey, welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. Really appreciate each of you for taking the time to talk about immigration law with me here today. Okay? As always, we'll do this episode in English, and then we will do this episode in Spanish. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Remember that the Empowered Immigrant Live is here to train, teach, inspire, and empower immigrants to make the most out of immigration laws and to make the most out of their lives. All right? Today our theme is, what is a presumption of ineligibility? We'll talk through what that is for the Keeping Families Together Parole in Place program that has been announced and is currently paused. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. My question, as always, is, hey, do you want to get a green card? Do you want to apply for citizenship? Do you want to figure out what strategy is best for you to come out of the shadows or to change your life or to up-level your immigration status in any way? Because if so, go for it. All right? Take action. Make it happen. And I'd love to help you with that. I'd love to at least give you legal advice about that. My law firm, is on a mission to win 10,000 immigration cases by 2035. That's 10 years to win 10,000 cases. We would love for your case to be one of them. All right? And so as I'm talking today, if you have any questions, feel free to send me your questions. I'll do my best to answer them right here, right now, live. And thank you all so much for tuning in. Okay? So the news that I'm going to share, it's the 29th of October is the day I'm filming this, which means that our election is 1 week away. All right, 1 week away. November 5th is election day. And so we're 1 week away from an election that's going to have enormous impact, consequence. It's going to change the fate and future of immigration laws in this country. And so, it's stressing. Well, I won't allow it. I won't even language it that it's stressing me out, although I am watching the news feeds and stuff on my on Instagram and other places where I Google News, other places. Oh man, what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? What is going to happen? I sometimes I wish we all had a crystal ball and we could just know what to plan for and what to expect. My goal is to have the back of my clients. My goal is to have my clients back regardless of who wins the election next week. And my goal for each of you listening to me is that you have a plan, you have clarity on what the best strategy is for you, regardless of who wins the election next week. And I hope that you are, Alec B, I see you there, thank you. We can't let Trump win this election, please vote blue. Yeah, if you're a U.S. citizen listening to this, and if you care about immigrants and immigration law, which is like the main issue that I've dedicated my life to, it's like be very mindful of who you vote for. All right. Right now, we're, just seeing the words that come out of our candidates' mouths, right, for our multiple candidates. It's like there is one party running that completely does not value immigrants. And it's so disappointing. It's just so disappointing that there would be someone that calls themselves a leader and yet doesn't value some of the people that are the most enormous contribution to our society and our culture that has ever been. All right, talk about a country that is founded by and built by immigrants. And to turn your back on that truth is just like, it's asinine to me. It's like, it's repulsive to me. But anyway, you're getting my own views on the matter. And hey, you're tuning into my podcast, so you get my views, right? Now I'm going to switch gears, though, and I'm going to talk about the law itself. And enough of politics. Let's talk law, shall we? Crazy that the legal profession I've chosen happens to be so political. It doesn't need to be, right? But it just happens to be. Anyway, I think immigrants' rights is possibly the civil issue of our century, right? And I think that's part of what attracted me to being part of this fight. Anyway, so I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to talk about the law. We're talking about parole in place, which right now is paused, okay? So everything I'm about to tell you is about a program to apply for parole in place for spouses of U.S. citizens that currently is paused, and we're going to find out what happens with this pause on November 8th, so which I believe is Friday of next week. Yes, it is Friday, not this Friday, but a week from Friday. All right, so that program grants parole in place if 5 requirements are met, okay? So if, as of June 17th of 2024, if 1, you're married to a U.S. citizen, 2, you have 10 years of continuous physical presence in the United States, 3, if you were not lawfully admitted or paroled into the U.S., 4, you are not a threat to national security, public safety, or have disqualifying criminal history, and 5, you must merit a favorable exercise of discretion. All right? Those are the 5 requirements. That's what this parole in place is. Our office has submitted several of these applications. Right now, the whole program is paused. We're going to see what happens with this program after November 8th. Hopefully, the judges could extend the pause, but we're following the litigation to see what's going to happen. All right? This program has been stated to enable or to possibly help 500,000 spouses of U.S. citizens, plus an additional 50,000 of their children who could possibly benefit from this program. But in the regulations, all right, in the regulations, there are some words and some language that you want to pay attention to. The regulations for this program creates a presumption of ineligibility for certain people. All right? The main 2 groups that have a presumption of ineligibility, but you could still win. It's a presumption that you're not eligible, but you can overcome the presumption. Okay? It's an invitation to still apply, but you got to present extra evidence for 2 groups of people. Group number 1 are people with unexecuted removal orders. Got it? So what's an unexecuted removal order? Well, basically, imagine an immigration judge ordered your deportation, but then you appealed the case, and you lost, and you appealed again, and you lost, and now you're here, right? And you have a deportation order against you. There are thousands of people in this situation. I've got clients that are in this situation, and it's like, what do we do? Well, maybe we could apply for this parole in place, but it's going to be a harder process for you because you've got a presumption against you. You've got a presumption of ineligibility. It's almost like they're assuming, right, that you're ineligible and you've got to overcome it. You've got to show extra evidence as to why they should ignore that presumption and grant you that benefit. And now, if you've also, there are other options for people with unexecuted removal orders, all right? There are I-212 waivers, there are motions to reopen, there are other benefits as well, U visas, etc., that you can apply for even with an unexecuted removal order. So if you're in that boat, often the first step is, hey, let's request all those records, figure out what caused that removal order, and then strategize around how to fix it. Okay? This is what lawyers do. This is what good lawyers do, at least. So anyway, that's one group of folks that have this presumption of ineligibility. There's another group, and that's for people with certain criminal records. All right? Like if there's a list of certain crimes against children, certain serious felonies, murder, etc., where they just say, hey, look, if you've got that conviction, it's a no, right? You're not going to be eligible for the parole in place, period, all right? But then there's this other group of crimes, DUIs, etc., where it's not that level, but instead it just creates a presumption of ineligibility. You've got a criminal conviction, you've got to overcome that presumption. Doesn't mean you can't apply. It means you've got to show extenuating circumstances to justify their granting you parole in place, which is a discretionary benefit. You've got to send extra evidence to justify your request, okay? And that's the way it is. So how do you overcome the presumption? They're going to look at lots of different things, all right? They're going to look at, if it's a crime, they're going to look at how old is that crime? How many years have passed? How remote is it in time, in the past, that this has happened, all right? They're going to look at your age at the time of the offense and the conviction. Were you a juvenile at the time of the conviction? That might go in your favor, right, if it happened that long ago or when you were quite young. They're going to, of course, look at the sentence and the penalty and the conviction record, okay? They're going to want to see evidence of rehabilitation, if any, right? And they're going to want to compare the severity of the offense to the strengths of any equities in your favor in order to overcome the presumption and hopefully grant your request, all right? If it's an unexpedited removal order, they'll look at other things as well. They'll look at, whether or not the removal order was done properly, whether or not you received proper notice, right, of your case, which is a big issue. You could talk that through with a lawyer. You're going to see they're going to look at what your age was when that removal order was issued. They're going to look at things like whether or not you had no attorney or ineffective assistance of your attorney or some other problems happen, like due process violations, etc., that may have happened in your case, all right? And other things that might have contributed to the deportation, access to an interpreter to help you through your case, whether you've ever been a victim of a crime, right? You might qualify for a U visa. That could help support this. Any other extenuating factors, include them in there. If you've ever been had like a medical condition, or if you currently suffer from a medical condition, that can be an equitable factor. All right. So, so anyway, those are some of the ways, just kind of brainstorming, some of the evidence that you could include with your case to overcome a presumption of ineligibility. Got it? All right. So what do you do? Right? What do you do in these complex cases? You've got an outstanding removal order. You've got a criminal record. And you're married to a U.S. citizen. What do you do? Can you apply for this parole in place process? Technically they can receive these requests. They can't approve them, though. So often the best advice with these complex cases is, hey, start with a consultation. Talk it through with a lawyer. Maybe don't apply right now. maybe wait and see who wins next week in this election. Then we'll wait and see what really happens with this program and if it moves forward or not. And talk it through with your lawyer, right? If there's a deportation order or if there's a criminal record, there are various ways to handle it. All right, you might have a rebuttable presumption against you, or you might just not be eligible for this program, and instead let's find a different strategy. All right, 212H waivers can waive crimes in certain instances. 212 I-212 waivers can waive deportation orders in certain instances, you know. And so you just want to talk it through and strategize. Hey, we got this issue, these issues in the past. How can we strategize around them to maximize my chances of winning a green card? All right, or whatever immigration status you're going for. All right, that's basically my spiel today. That's basically what I wanted to share today. For people that are not eligible for this parole in place, which is a lot of people, more than 10 million people are not going to be eligible for this. So for all of the people in that situation, hey, talk to a lawyer. You know, there are still U visas, still asylum, still family-based immigration options, waiver cases, still immigration court-based options like cancellation of removal and others. Talk it through with a lawyer. Go step by step. Be clear about your situation, your strategy, your options. See how we can help you. Okay? All right, I'm getting some questions here. Alec B, I see you. Thank you for what you've said. And Luis Juarez, I see your question here. I've been waiting for over 2 years for my I-485 marriage-based green card to get approved. Is that normal? You know, different field offices have different processing times, so that might depend on which field office your case is pending in front of. But it's not too uncommon. All right, our office has won cases in much less time than that, but we also have some old cases with some complexities that have taken longer as well, and that are still pending much longer than 2 years. And so it really depends. In my experience, 2 years isn't anything to get too worried about. But if you're working with a lawyer, then you might start doing inquiries. Make sure check the local processing times for your field office, and certainly if it's outside of normal processing times, then start doing your inquiry process. And if that is ineffective, which it often is, then think about an ombudsman request or a congressional inquiry, potentially even a mandamus case to push your green card case forward. Okay? And Luis, thank you so much for asking that question and for being on our program today. Appreciate you. All right, Amy Vilchis, I see you here. Thank you so much for asking your question. Your question is, my husband has a visa. He's in the United States, and we got married in November. What are my options? Okay, so you got married a year ago, right, in November of last year? So, yeah, if your husband has a visa and he's in the U.S., and if you're a U.S. citizen, then you have the right to file a petition and apply for his adjustment of status, to change or adjust his status from being a visa holder to being a green card holder, so that he can work any job, so that he has a lot more liberty and freedom here in the U.S., and so that he can eventually apply to become a U.S. citizen. And there's a process to go through. We call it adjustment of status. And, and heck, my office would be happy to help you with it. We take cases throughout the whole country. We're based in Oakland, California, is where my office is. But yeah, Amy, feel free to reach out. If my office can help you in any way with that process, we'd love to do that. Okay? Yeah, okay, and you say, yes, you're a U.S. citizen. Almost a year ago, you won your citizenship. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations to you. All right, so everybody, I thank you all so much for being here. Tito Gonzalez, hello here on Instagram, and Gagastical, hello here on Instagram. And JAAK. Hello here on Instagram. I appreciate each of you. Everybody here on TikTok. There's lots of folks here tuning in on TikTok. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you. Murad, I applied for a U visa since 2018. Still waiting. How long is it to get a green card? If you're still waiting for a U visa, it's going to be a long time. All right. U visas take years and years and years. Now, you applied since 2018, so it shouldn't be too long ago. Has your U visa already been approved? Because the way it works is you've got to get your U visa approved first, and then you got to wait 3 years, and then you can apply for your green card. It's not automatic. You got to apply again for your green card, and then that process will take some time, and then you'll get it, hopefully approved. All right? The key at this point is you want to make sure that your U visa was done properly. If it was done in 2018, you're probably up for receiving a decision in the not too distant future. All right? So it depends on when in 2018 your case was submitted. But like if it was at the beginning of the year, you might be receiving a decision soon, right? And so that's something that you want to be aware of. All right, very good, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. Let me give my empowerment tip before we wrap up. And if you have any questions about your case, feel free to still submit them. I'll still have time for one or two more, and then we'll wrap up today. So my empowerment tip is this, all right? Be calm, be persistent, and be true to yourself. Okay, be calm, be persistent, and be true to yourself. And this is what I want to say. You ready for this? Even if a candidate wins the presidency who violates your own ideals, this is true regardless, right? Regardless of which side you're on and regardless of who you vote for. Even if a candidate wins the presidency who violates your own ideals, it does not mean that you should give up or change your own values or your ideals. So I'll say it again. Be calm. Be persistent. Be true to yourself. Doesn't matter who's in politics. Be calm. Be persistent. And be true to yourself. That's my empowerment tip today. Hope it's useful. Hope it's helpful. All right? Hey, thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. My name's Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. And it's like, yeah, if this was useful, if this was helpful, please subscribe to our channel in YouTube. And when you do that, hit the notification bell. All right? Hit the notification bell. Because that way, you'll receive a notification whenever we upload an additional video with news, with other things that are going on, so that you can stay informed about your immigration case and about immigration laws. Okay? So that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate each of you, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate all of you. Make it a great day. Let's stay in communication. If our office can help you in any way, we're just a phone call away, folks. Just give us a call. We're here to help. We'd love to help. And otherwise, we'll see you next time on our next episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.